Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I did my masculine twin flame read for you, and we're going to get right to it. I did have a wonderful surprise this morning when I went out the door. I saw another one of that white butterfly. I saw two yesterday. The one white butterfly was there, but also right after I noticed this little guy came to visit. And I got to show you, look at the beautiful pictures. But this one, let's see where it was. I wanted to show you the other one because check that out. Like, he kept posing for me. He kept going from branch to branch but not flying away. I have like 5 different settings of him sitting there letting me take pictures of him. So, and I want to show you this other one where the white of his face looks like a human profile. It was so cool. That one? Yeah, I don't know how well you can see it on here, but if you look closely, his face literally looks like a human profile. And I think it's on the other one too. Let me see if you can see it. That one? No. So this is the other, well, I don't know if you can see it as much on that one. It's really on the one I showed you. But anyway, it was a really nice surprise. I spent some time out there this morning with the dragonfly, which when they mate, they become the heart. So that was a perfect message this morning. Let's see here what I have. Okay. And so before I start the read, I'm going to show you the basic read. Okay, and then the full read here. Okay. And let's see, was there anything else that fell out in the read? Yeah, these guys actually fell out in the shuffle too, so I'll show you those as well. And then I'm going to get right into it. The read, well, today is May 31, 2019, so it's the last day of May. 31 is the 5 of Wands. It's that 5 of Wands card, right? That expansion, that competition. It can just be going out to play, you know, and having fun with sports. But it also can be that competitive energy or conflict energy of the 31. The day adds up to 48-3, which is the 8 of Cups, walking away and within, along with that 5 of Wands expansion energy. So kind of interesting to see what the day brings, but so far it's been good for me. I had a nice long talk with a twin flame friend, and my son came, one of his cards read, so I did his as well. And it's a nice sunny day out, so we're probably going to go out for a jog soon. And I didn't sleep great last night, but I don't know, like 5 hours or such. But I feel good. So before I get into the read, just a couple things that were coming up as I was getting into the read, besides the beautiful dragonfly pics. I got Talk to Me Like Lovers Do. That was at 8:49 this morning. What did I write there? Oh, I was getting the guillotine, and then I was getting off with her head. So the whole theme of the read in the day is the queen from Alice in Wonderland, the card. She's not even a real person, she's just a card character. I didn't even see it, but I had to read, it came up before a couple months ago, and I had to read up on you know, the theme of the story, because I don't remember if I've ever watched it all the way through. Not the modern movie anyway. But so the Queen of Hearts, is it actually, is, you know, going around off with their head, off with their head, and the king has to clean up after her and let them all off the hook afterwards, right? So that's the theme of the karmic going around setting fires for the masculine to have to clean up. Also, then I was getting So La Ti Do, so from The Sound of Music, that was coming up, and it'll come up again in the read. That was at 8:57, and again, off with her head. Then at 8:59, I got Band on the Run. As the clock strikes 9 a.m., okay, instead of 12. And I actually wrote, instead of strikes 9, I wrote sticks 9. And sticks were coming up a lot in the read as well, before I wrote that stuff. So that was significant. So Band on the Run as the clock strikes 9 a.m. this morning, and Big Ben came up again. And of course here we are with England and Band on the Run. And Big Ben is called the Elizabeth Tower, and then it went to a list of other clock towers when I looked that up, and one of them being the Philadelphia City Hall clock tower. So I was surprised because it was just like the top 21 clock towers around the world. And the Philadelphia clock tower came up, so that was kind of cool. But very significant that the Big Ben came up again. And as I turned the page, it was 9:08, 8 of course being infinity, being at 0 point centered, and strength, inner strength. I started the read for the Divine Masculine, and again, this is for the Divine Feminine with her Divine Masculine within as well. And it was done at 8:41, and then 59, and then 9:09 was the final time. And the major arcana were Justice, Solar Deity, which is the Sun, Reflection, which is the Hermit, Transition, which is the Death card. And then after the read card that I always pull was Luna, which is the Moon, which is the second day in a row where the Moon came up as the after read card. The numbers and the message around the coding today were all about music, self-discipline, and compassion. And the numbers were 16, 10, 6, 32. 32 is that 6 of Wands, the Journeyman. 16, the Tower. 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, and 6, of course, is the Lovers. 14 came up, which is the Angels. The Patience card, Temperance. 23, the King of Wands, which also came up. 66, the Queen of Pentacles. And then 10, 10 of that high vibration, Trill. 67 of the Knight of Pentacles, the sure-footed one, the workhorse, the loyal servant. And then 7, 10, and 2, 2, 3 came up. And 22 is the Fool, and 23 is the King of Wands. So we have 32 and 23 that came up, reflecting each other. And then the train sounded. That's not far from my house, so just one long horn at 9:17, just once. So the Hermit, which is also the Wise One, the collective consciousness, and the 17 of the Star. And the union energies, right? So the message here around music, self-discipline, and compassion were about a couple different things. I went to write down the number 10, T-E-N, and when I went back to look at my coding, it actually said TAN, T-A-N, which was so weird because I never mistake the E for the A. And there was a coding of S-A before the T, which was supposed to be T-E-N. I wrote T-A-N, which is Satan. So that energy came up, and it was like to 86, the Satan energy, but remember, that's just your shadow side. So, but 86, the Satan, so divine, new moon, high vibe, balance, and sharing, reek of music, self-discipline, and compassion. Ace, or ace, loving Satan, or the shadow side of yourself. And then I was getting 50 divided by 10. And 50 is the 10 of Cups, emotional fulfillment, and 10 is that destiny card of the Wheel of Fortune. That divided by that equals 5, or expansion, or change. At the new moon, around the 6th, because remember you want to wait a couple days after the new moon to really settle in, to deal with the energy reeking of music, self-discipline, and compassion. Also, I was getting the symbol EK, which first thing that came up for that was Water Blocks. It's a liquid cooling product company. Also a European kindred, it means, which is actually a white supremacist prison and street gang in Europe. Also different temples, Hindi, and the Kansa? Did I write it again? This village was Eklavya Temple in Kansa village, sector 37, which is the King of Cups. Kansa is on the NH-8 near Delhi, and N for me is Jesus, and H is DNA, and 8 of the infinity, and staying it balanced in your masculine and feminine. So that was coming up, so that was kind of cool. It was 257 kilometers, which adds up to 14 of the angels, which is 160 miles, and the 16 came up for the tower today from the capital, which had a population of 9959, which is the minute before the hour. All right, it's 9959 is the minute before 9960, which is peace. 99 is the Five of Swords guy at war, and 60 is finding peace again in the end, the minute before the hour. And then 1912 came up as well. There were 1912 households there, which adds up to 32 of the journeyman. So there's a story there. Eklavya cut off his thumb, his right thumb, and offered it or gifted it to the guru Drona. And the thumb is actually buried there at the temple. So another translation is EK Park is a cricket ground in Zambia. Also, it symbolizes Enchanted Kingdom, the theme park in the Philippines. Also in Sanskrit, it comes up meaning one vehicle, also one shelter, religion, one. In Tibet, it also comes up in that one, P-A-I-T, and then the one reality. So all different versions of oneness. It also means kinetic energy in physics, EK. Even though it's kinetics energy, it comes up as EK. Also, it's Eek as I in Dutch, Old Dutch, from Proto-Germanic or Proto-Indo-Euro, meaning I. Also can mean let's go, or one. Also out of in math, like 50 out of 10 or 10 out of 50. That's also eek. It also can mean fish and with, in addition to, and or besides. But it's mostly about I and one and God, like all one religion. So, in summarizing all that, acing love, which can be Satan, but also can be Saturn, and magic around the Sophia 9, which is the collective feminine consciousness, an odd IV infusion of high vibration at the new moon in balanced sharing regarding the I and the one. So there may be some unexpected energies that come up all of a sudden with the new moon that you never would have guessed. And then Aces 9 came up and Oceans 11 came up, or the I feminine, the Sophia 9, the collective feminine consciousness. So very much about that. The Tower of Satan, so divide. The Tower is 16, so just divide it up into 10 and 6. Now you have the Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers instead of the Tower and those negative energies. By the moon of energy regarding the I and the one. This new moon coming up. The high vibration on one side and love on the other in order to stay balanced. Keep the high vibe and good fortune on one side and love separate and balanced. Money does not equate to love. Money can't buy me love. Yet love brings abundance. If abundance is down, then work on love. Stay in the middle of the road. Around 5 or 6 is good, and 7. Careful with the 10 of Pentacles, Swords, Cups, and Wands, because after all, 10 is the end, going into a new beginning. 10 is good fortune. It's the shift. Time to begin again and have fun if you're going to go through all of this again. So the turn of the page is 958, and 58 is the Four of Swords. It's about resting, meditating, having some quiet time. And I wanted, before I forget, on the 29th at 3:09 p.m., I did a read for the masculine. There were 8 major arcana, so something very significant happened then, around that time. So later in the day on the 29th. So it's Friday, that was Wednesday. So turn the page at 9:58 with the Four of Swords. So I was getting, instead of counting the minute before the hour and getting to the end, the 10, where you'd have to start over at 1 again and go through the whole thing again, instead count down backwards, 59, 58, 57, 56. Go back to the 6s and 7s, the middle of the road, whereas the 10 and the 1 are the extremes. That's where you get yourself into trouble, because then there's endings and new beginnings, whereas opposed you stay in the middle, you stay grounded and centered. You don't have to start over again. You can just go backwards, back to the 7 again, instead of going into the new cycle again, if you're happy with what you're already doing. So you can just go back a little bit to settle back into the 6 or the 7. So here Spirit was bringing up equating numbers into this equation. Just as in the human body, alkaline has to be above the acidic level. So it's balanced in the middle, but more to the alkaline side. Just like in light and dark, you balance more, you have both, the shadow and the light, but you have to balance it more towards the light side to stay where you want. So it's the same thing with the numbers in 1 to 10. You want to stay between the 5, 6, 7 as opposed to the 1, 2, 3 or the 8, 9, 10. Okay? And the 5 is in there, but remember that 5 is conflict, expansion. So you got to be careful about staying at the 6, because if you fall back a little bit into your energy, you're going to fall right back into conflict. That's the risk of staying in the middle. You can go into immediate expansion again and again and again, and that's the whole point of staying at center point, 0 point, centered in the present moment, because you can perpetually co-create instead of going through the whole cycles and then over again, which takes lots of time. 6 is the sweet spot, 5 being the danger zone. But it's not really danger, it's just about co-creation. But it's that expansion again, and then coming to peace of the 6, and then 7, which is the bliss. So you really want to stay in the sweet spot of the 6 to the 7, but remember that 7 is the bliss, it's 5D. So until you're in 5D, you won't experience that 7, because otherwise it's 2/3, or the 0.66666 forever. You don't get to the 7 unless you get to the end, and that would mean death or changing timelines, which is when we get to 5D. So just a little bit about the numbers that I was getting today. Receiving downloads, but some only passed to 1, perhaps, as an offer of love, a message of love, friendship, and or a child, a baby, or a new project. So instead of the downloads you get always passing them to everyone, sometimes there'll be downloads you get and you may need to sit on them or pass them to just one person. They may be personal. Pointing out synchronicities to highlight the best choice, the sovereign, the independent, the one who's loving themselves first. 6 to 7, if overdue downloads may fall back to 5, of change and expansion. So be aware, doe a deer, a female deer, ray a drop of golden sun. Me a name I call myself, fa a long way to run, so a needle pulling thread, la a note to follow so, and then tea a drink with jam and bread that will bring us back to do 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 do. So this is saying, you know, you can go back, you can go through the whole cycle and start over again, or you can just stay close to the middle and remember that do re mi is only 7 because it's a 7-note scale. So stay at the 7. And if you want to start over, go from 7. You don't have to go through all the way to 10. Just stay within your co-creation place, and Spirit's connecting with me. And at 10:05, a truck went south. And expanding, yeah, it's equating going from the 6 to the 7. So when your energy drains, you fall back to 5, and then you fall into expansion energy, needing to go back to 6 and 7 again. And right at that moment too, where I went to doe a deer, female deer, it was 10:06. So getting to that sweet spot of the 6 and the Wheel of Fortune, all of a sudden my neighbors next door start yelling at each other out the door, which they do on a regular basis, but that's okay. And then I was getting do, 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 start over again from the beginning. And I got to connect at that point. It was 10:07. So here we are at the really sweet spot, the bliss of 7 and the Wheel of Fortune. So then I was getting, the first cards of the read were the Ace of Cups, the 6 of Swords, says love, peace. On the Seven of Swords, which is normally the liar, cheat, or thief card, or it's just really inherently about risk. It doesn't have to be liar, cheat, or thief. But sorry, I hit my phone by accident. But in this card, it's about passing on downloads, and it's more about just taking the risk of co-creation. So it's the 1, the 6, and the 7 of basically quanta, love, and peace, which, by the way, those 3 numbers add to 14 of the angels, and patience and balance. And then in the 7 of Swords card, the bottom half of the card was covered, so I was seeing 1, 3, and 2 sets of balls, which adds up to 6, with 1 below. So you stay at that sweet spot of the 6, and sometimes you'll come up to that 7. But just watch out for that pushback that may push you back into the 5 again. The Page of Cups came up here as the angelic child. You can possibly masculines or feminines may be getting their children to pick the right one for them. Or it's a risk to give your kids too much stuff. The emotional things are so much more abundant, gifts of the soul, passing on lessons, Friday night dinner to catch up, and Sunday supper as a pep talk for Monday. And then 7 days a week were coming up. So a lot of Beatles came up in this, a lot of Beatles stuff came up in this read. So, and very much about England with the the clock tower and Queen Elizabeth, and off with their head, right? So it's very in line. You see, she's so little and petite right now. It'd be pretty funny to imagine her as that Queen of Hearts. So 7 days a week with a focus on 1 and 6, because we just talked about 1, 6, and 7, because 6 and 7 are the sweet spot, really. But you can go back to 1 if you'd like to have some fun again and go outside the lines a little bit. It's coming up that 1 and 6 are Monday and Saturday, because Monday's the first day of the week. It's a work day, right? So you work hard on Monday. But 6th day, make sure you have some fun and have a physical play day. And it's coming up on 2-2-2-2. So then, of course, 7 is the day of rest, because that's bliss of the 5D. And that's actually when my friend called to talk, and it was, again, 10-16 of the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower energies of the 10 and the 6 coming together to make the Tower. Love and the Wheel of Fortune, abundance, come together to make sudden changes. The sun is out for people to come together in joy. Come together right now. I'm just getting that. That's another one. That's not even one of the songs that came up. Come together right now over me. Okay, so that came up. People come together in joy as the Empress gets scooped, as the Queen of Wands looks down on her people, while the Divine Masculine is saving and reaping rewards. The constant gardener, always planting seeds, but do they come to fruition if you're working 7 days a week? And there's something I have to show you too, because it's very important. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that, but there was the next part that came up here today was pretty profound, and it had to do with some cards that came up that regard who the twins are, right, when you're supposed to align. And so, in coming together, the Queen of Wands looks down on her people while the Divine Masculine is saving and reaping rewards. The constant gardener came up, always planting seeds, but do they come to fruition if working 7 days a week? The mother in the woods, karmic in the garden, sitting on throne, watching him do all the work. A long tail, and she got the short end, as long as her story may be. Black cat DNA of mustard yellow royal lineage, black and mustard with muted oranges and greens. Her tail on the platform matches, but is longer than the King of Wands, yet his wand is complete now, and hers is not near completion, never reaching the end, and that's coming up from Knights in White Satin again, 66667. Their joint stick broken, and hers is the short end of the stick. He just doesn't see it yet. The Queen of Wands shows off her orange chest and ruby pendant, needing green around her, since it's lacking within her. Empress is very green, with heart on display, only scooping herself, her favorite flavor of ice cream, across from park, She doesn't have to manicure. I was getting to break that up. Manicure. Like living on the golf course or mountain home was coming up here. But I want to bring up the constant gardener. I think it came up again. So the cards that came up in the read about the constant gardener was first this card, both in the underlying energies, and then this one above it, literally reflecting. This is where the masculine and feminine need to be in order to align themselves, because this is that middle road, that sweet spot of the Seven of Pentacles, which is also the divine feminine's heart. This is where they meet. And it wasn't just these two together, it was these three together. Look, this is the constant gardeners, the two, and the reflection of the masculine and feminine in the Garden of Eden. This is the key, the clue. This is the twins, and this is how they get there, by being that Seven of Pentacles, the divine feminine's heart, meeting in that space, the constant gardener, because they're always staying around that 6-7 place as opposed to going through the whole cycle again. Staying balanced and within. When you stay balanced, you force your twin to become neutral also. One can't stay at an extreme unless the other is in an extreme. So if the feminine stays at her 0 point, centered and balanced, then over time the masculine must also come into his centered 0 and balance, and vice versa. So that was very cool that those three cards came up. So as I turned the page, it was a 1038, and 38 is the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Hearts, the queen that's saying off with their heads. It's also the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune. Man on the run came up here, which is like band on the run, making a quick getaway while women aren't looking. The wounded warrior is on the lookout, so he can split when he's done in the yard. So someone may be like watching him while he does all the work, and he just can't wait to get out of this place, right? Band on the run. Third leg getting longer by the minute, ready to pull Excalibur from the stone and climb Mount Olympus. The constant gardener, the widower investigating their wife's death, which was a movie, right, about murder, big business, and corporate corruption. So You Deserve Love was the underlying energy, and as I wrote constant gardener, it was 1042, which is the Two of Cups. And a bus was struggling to go north on my street with a black wagon on its tail coming up slowly behind. So this was kind of representative of the masculine with the dark, still trying to watch what he's doing. But he's struggling to get there. It was like the little engine that could. You Deserve Love came up for the masculine, and beneath that was very soon. Out, caught with their pants down, or confession, or just feeling very burdened. The Emperor is out in the open, but stunned. Flirty and showing muscle, Dream Girl surprised him with fumes. So he may have smelled something, or a message about a smell. Rays of light on Trophy Wife he doesn't see, while kids prepare a surprise meal, perhaps, if he's just with his kids. And then I was getting, if a man could be two places, at what time I'd be with you. Tomorrow and today, beside you all the way. And when my love for life is running dry, you come and pour yourself on me. And if the world should stop revolving, spinning slowly down to die, I'd spend the end with you. And when the world was through, then one by one the stars would all go out, and you and I would simply fly away. Okay, and during that song the time came up of 1049, which is getting your wish. So the Emperor may be thinking of surprising someone, juggling war within and the stars above, a butt crack scene, hoping for a green dress possibly with cleavage, the Dream Girl Empress with muscle, and showing their individuality, as the masculine is 11 of justice, and underneath that was the 5 of change. So the new moon is coming in, looking into the crystal ball without options, since both stingers of his options, and one is dark and flies in flocks of players. But he's got Excalibur and the Blu-rays over the loss of spent cups, spilt wine, cups left all over the yard, in the weeds on grass, or water getting in and mold growing, tripping up and breaking patterns to new type of garden, pure and natural, with lots of color, twins playing with frog, bunny, and orange cat watching out for them. When you're little, all the beauty and colors are so magnified and meaningful. No more mold and poop in the yard, support hose, chocolate, and candy on paper rolls. Bat out of hell. He knows twin trumps everything prior. Kids may be grown or out getting into trouble as teens, doing their own thing. Time to become young again, forever young. And then that was 1105, and 5 is that justice and expansion, change. It's also the Hierophant of God, his order, the connection to your higher self. So staying at the number 7, that bliss, reaping rewards, and back to peace again of the 6. Reap, sow, reap, peace, right? So you go back to 5 is sowing, and then you get back to 6, and then you go to bliss, and then back to 6 again. Twins passing on downloads specific to certain people or projects of love. And then the songs came up from all were the Beatles, and this is an order of a story told. Let It Be, All You Need Is Love, Helter Skelter, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Something in the way she moves, right? And then Come Together Right Now, okay? And then the last one that came up there, and Spirit's connecting with me, was Here Comes the Sun, da 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 da, okay? So that's supposed to be like the sequence of the journey. Taking a risk to reap and sow with twin. You deserve love, masculines. And surprise. Be individual, authentic to you. Which was interesting because I had to talk with my son doing cards today about that kind of thing. So recently, justice prevails as the scales are aligned. Body double found. Mr. Ed has a twin, a double. One a zombie following orders, the other trying to wake him up. Priest or some other religious leader may have made a deal with the devil, and now the Grim Reaper is here to collect. And children are shocked. Someone is breaking out of a cult as well. And then I got the code of Divath. I don't know how they pronounce it. D-I-V-A-T-H, but it's actually spelled with a Y. D-I-V-A-Y-T-H. It's a game. But as soon as I got that code, after writing that down, I was getting I was blind but now I see. The masculine in his knowing. There's now full transformation. So I looked up the Divath or Divath or Divath, Vaith or whatever it is. And then the last name is F-Y-R, or that's the community or their cult or whatever it is. And it comes up under Elder Scrolls. Powerful 4,000-year-old Dunmer sorcerer and member of House of Tel Vani, which is so funny because Vani's my sister-in-law, Tel Vani, who resided in Tel Fair in Zafarbel Bay. I'm just trying to see if there's anything that I need to get out of the Zafarbel Bay. But he was the caretaker of the Corpusarium, a quarantine area which treats those infected with corpus, which breaks down as corp or corporation are us. This sorcerer is the transmuter of negative energies of corporations. So here's more keys for you. So the keys in this game came up as 1, chest right in front of Divath, or whatever his name is. Find Scourge. Take it to 2. Around the corner to the left is the closet. Carass of Savior's hide and take it. And then 2, Diatric Crescents now. Be sure to have, and in capitals, a mark and recall of some type of, in caps, intervention, spell. So make sure you mark and recall things. And plan for intervention. So I guess Siri was marking that down. The sun and the shadow, insane, that was something else that came up here. The sun and shadow, an insanely difficult puzzle. The sun and shadow. And the spells that came up under that game were 637, which is the 37 of the King of Cups, which, remember, we're talking about the Queen of Hearts going around off with their heads, and then the King of Hearts has to be the nice guy and let them off the hook after she sentences them to death. So 637 came up as the intervention and then spell, and then 678 as the key to, right, staying at that balance point. Aligned with reflection, the Seven of Pentacles is up and down. All right, the Seven of Pentacles up and down. The constant gardener and 2 kids in the Garden of Eden, right? 1 male, 1 female, 2 sides of the same coin, reflections of each other. You both deserve love, peace, and food. Make sure you're eating properly. The foundation is the Queen of Wands here, which could be Sagittarius, Pisces, Leo, and Aquarius, in a fight to the death. But I wrote in a fight to the day. Off with their heads. So maybe she only functions, right? She's a robot chopping off people's heads. Maybe she only functions during the day, off with their heads. She's just a card caricature. Her bark is much worse than her bite. Angel patient without option, but to hang and be wise as not to start more fires with her. The fire starter. It's always his fault. She chops off their heads and gets she chops off their heads and he gets them off the hook. And here we have now Captain Hook coming in here. And Pegleg. Centrally is the extended family and the legacy. Presently destitute or have left him or out in the cold, but the King of Swords is upright. So this is the masculine in his truth. Or if the family may have retained a lawyer to make sure they stay out. So someone's been kicked out. Don't know if it's the masculine or if the masculine kicked someone out. Could have been their kids too if they were bad. But jealousy of passion of lovers here is challenged by, and let me turn the page, it's 1138 again. 38 is the Queen of Cups and 11 is Justice. So again, justice for the Queen of Hearts, off with their heads. But this is the Queen of Wands here. And the Queen of Hearts, or the Queen of Cups, usually comes up as the Divine Feminine. So the challenge here is the Six of Pentacles, that balance between energy, money, people, balanced and sharing. Giving too much is the block. Time, money, energy, broken down car, while the karmic is holding back the coin or delaying a new life in a heated exchange of the whipping boy doing manual labor. Could be if a child wants a car, they must work for it, no longer getting it for free. As the King and Queen of Swords comes up here, which are spades, a spade is a spade, come together. So also this just came up with, make sure you know who you're hanging out with, because if there are people that you don't know certain sides of them, you're going to be associated with who those people are. So are you who you hang out with? A spade is a spade, come together in 5D, and happy to align a shingle, or hang a shingle, with only 5 cups. But actually, those 5 cups may be 9. So it's like the masculine coming out, maybe, you know, if there's a divorce or whatever it is, may have lost a lot of money. But for the twins, it really doesn't matter, because they can co-create anything they want. Plus, they may have the means to do it. Okay, but the others may not know what the other's situation is. So that's definitely coming up here. The Queen of Wands and family may have sudden jealousy of passionate feelings of lover in divorce, of karmic all business, while he's in 5D. The Queen of Swords talks about women envying each other's body parts. It's easy to be confident and show off when you're beautiful with a perfect body, or even if you're an average face if you have a perfect body, or perfect face with an average body. The rest are lucky because they find true beauty sooner. They don't forget that beautiful women are constantly objectified and loved for their superficial looks. When what many deem as perfection by the shadow of the masculine, longing to have love presented to him on a silver platter. Right? So the masculine may be arrogant as well, expecting the perfect woman to just be served up to him on a silver platter, which it has, but he didn't take up that opportunity. He preferred to seek perfection, or what he deemed as perfection, as the shadow of the masculine, the false light, longing to have love presented to him on a silver platter. 16 channels of his control system, like he's the man in control, with elitism or elite education, that the woman must come to me. I don't bow down to anyone. So there could be some definitely arrogant energy here. But everyone here with wounds. Now crowning for the masculine is a little bit of light. Some news or message or a child. I, one, God, the collective consciousness, destined to emotional detachment, to be depressed or losing hope, can't cope as the emperor doles out more unending work or hard labor to the masculine and or twins or kids. So that can represent the God doling it out to the twins, or the father to his children. And that can be the divine masculine's father as well. Leo, Libra, Aquarius, Scorpio, depressed child or adult child, or both. The King of Cups reversed could be the masculine's inner child, or of the emperor, or a separate child of karmic, or the emperor. So they could be separate people or the same. Drained without opportunity, or possibly was a bad student, so someone's child may be a bad student, or the masculine may feel like he was a bad student growing up, or in need of money, or alone, or in the aftermath of letting go to fix things up. So someone may have fixed up a home and then be out of money, so may feel depressed that they can't go forward. Queen of Pentacles lover. So depressed Queen of Pentacles lover, or this could also be Aquarius, Gemini, Leo, Queen of Pentacles, possibly with a mastectomy. Also, father, mother, and children are all coming up depressed here, but the Emperor is coming up as good. The Leo, Queen of Pentacles, and Libra with lover, or Gemini with divorce exposed, healing uninspired kids at home, with the karmic all business. Leo, Libra, arrogant, Queen of Pentacles lover in a passionate exchange, which could be loving or heated, could be a fight. Kids at home with both and not happy. The truth is out of destiny and transformation of the devil and Mrs. Jones, or the devil, King of Swords, and the average Queen of Swords, or Cancer, Libra, Queen of Swords, and Scorpio, Capricorn, King of Swords, longing for the love presented to him, as soon the masked boy with that burning desire or flame inside is free from prison, moving to peace with the Emperor reversed. So we turned the page, it was 1205, so here's more wisdom hanging out, but then 5 comes along with expansion and the Hierophant, change. So now the Emperor was upright to begin with, and now he's reversed. So what happened to turn the Emperor around, and is he out of control, or is he just going through ego death? And this is the divine masculine, or it could be a father as well. Aquarius, Scorpio, working on offering love to the King of Swords, or bird taking off suddenly, or dreams come true suddenly, of healing or epiphanies of letting go of burdens to love again. The Emperor is out of control, or ego death, or actual death or dying, making peace with his son, or him with himself. Divine masculine is burdened, not seeing eye to eye with the devil waving, or after breaking divine masculine, or a breakup, divine masculine needs to wave hello to his twin flame. He may be offered assistance or an offer of work coming out of an ending of a family cycle of deception and over isolation and needing to come out. Capricorn and Virgo and Cancer here, and the cards that came up from Romance Angels were worth waiting for. Trust, which is all about faith. Keep an open mind. Your partner may differ than your usual expectations. Free yourself, which is, get out of that being fenced in. Don't fence me in. And then attraction. Yes, there's a magnetic attraction here. Around him, or how he is seen, is the sunshine, the solar deity. Exposure to off with their heads. The Queen of Swords may speak on injustice, of purging sealed divine feminine, or floating in another world, transmuting all the solar flares and negative energies of the justice system, exposing all in an expose. Completion, or waiting on a divorce. With element of surprise between them, the Capricorn, Cancer, and Virgo, and Libra, Pisces, Leo, so it could be a combination of any of those. The masculine needs to clear blocks of the Hermit, isolation, with the Empress reversed, and death from pain. And as I wrote this down, it was 12/21, so that's definitely right. That's the end of karma, 12/21, 2012. And now the masculine needing to clear blocks of isolation, or his idea of the Hermit, of himself as the Hermit, but also as the divine feminine of the Hermit, and it could be a mother as a Hermit as well, but seeing the Empress reversed in pain. So an Empress reversed who has died, or he thinks is going to die, or he thinks the divine feminine, or a mother, or his karmic, will die from the pain of it, of being alone. So whether someone's trying to get him to believe this and manipulating him, or him just worried about the feminine, or himself, of feeling like they're going to die from pain being alone. He needs to get past that. Misaligned King of Pentacles reversed, which could be someone who's just ungrounded, but it also can be someone who has a love of money and can be greedy, or has lost money and status recently. Compassion came up for the masculine, as well as self-discipline and music, but even more so, it's all about pride today. Death of the ego. Helping out a friend by giving some love, and then letters I've written, never meaning to send. And it was 128 when I wrote death. 28 is the twins, or the choice of path. And then at 136 I started sweating like crazy. So whenever there's masculine energy comes in, it makes me sweating. Can ask my son, as soon as he thinks about coming into the room with me, I start sweating. So helping out, so 136 is the 10 of Wands. It's about feeling overly burdened and needing to drop. Helping out a friend by giving some love. So the feminines and masculines, both of them may have been doing this today, because I certainly was talking to a friend. There's a transition portal of Leo and family, which is ego and family, family legacy, lineage, Akashic records, all of that stuff. Grieving separation of kids, Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, Scorpio, Leo, pride. So remember, pride is pride, but it's also the family, the lion's children. And then into the night. I will not walk into that good night. Lovers, actually the divine feminine, lover, unhappy at night, separated in transition of shift of timelines, as the high priestess and or secret, standing up for themselves for an offer of love coming in, a big offer. Rising above fighting and feeling like a failure, and this is definitely just did my son's read after this, and it was exactly the same. The Knight of Wands, feeling like that failure. This is the masculine, rising above the fighting, the contrast, the competition, all that crap, and feeling like a failure. The Knight of Wands is going back to apologize and lay down their swords. Taking risk that the Queen of Wands, burdened with exposure of justice for all and family and money. So it may be risky going back to that Queen of Wands, and it may not be the right choice. The challenge being balance and sharing the Page of Wands and the Hermit and the Page of Swords. So it definitely could be energy of a masculine and two children. There's a Page of Wands and a Page of Swords, so it can be 2 children, 1 child, no children, and it can be more than that as well. But it's just representative of him without a feminine, or the feminine with kids, okay? In a transition, the end of karma, end of the false light, by the new moon or by tonight. And I was also getting someone may have passed of Cancer around this last full moon. So this would have been something that passed already. So it's either a Cancer who passed, or someone may have passed of Cancer. It's something you already know about. Risk of Libra or Justice, and the Queen of Wands, family, and the pages, the Page of Swords and Page of Wands, the challenge of sharing or settling out in a divorce, letting go of a Cancer death perhaps, exposure, and that can be just death of a relationship as well, exposure of the Hermit to Scorpio and Cancer at or around that last Scorpio full moon. Alright, so those are the energies from the read, and I'm going to do an oracle post as well. So I showed you the cards already, so I think we're good. And we're going to be leaving on a good note because it's going to be 50, which is the 10 of Cups. So make sure you drink your water and get your rest. Have fun, rise and be loved.